Coming soon on video and DVD.
Breaking news this evening as police have discovered the body of yet another young female near the Wayne State University campus.
If you have any
Police do not
information,
have a
the
suspect
police
at
ask
this
you to
time,
call
but they don't rule out a possible connection.
888-9158.
Fellow Wayne
You
State
need to be in
student
the area, take all
Eric
necessary
Smart.
precautions, and traveling alone is not recommended. Again, another victim has been found, murdered in the woods.
And now, our feature presentation.
So, yeah, so I've been, and I don't know why I started doing this. I just was like, I was kind of curious, you know, being a podcaster, especially when you started earlier, you kind of reminisce back to where you've been. And I was like, you know, I haven't listened to those episodes in a while. Let me just put back on It's a Horror Podcast and listen to where I've been and see where I am now.
Get caught up
And kind of get caught up on my own life, you know, my own movie life, so to
Gotta
speak.
reflect.
Yes, and it's definitely been a reflection. I'm only like through episode 9, but just to the first, and of course those are rough cut. Like those are so, like, you know, looking at me now and all the stuff I have now, like what I have, like literally we started out, I had my phone, and I had this little, and back then of course, you know, they didn't have like the regular plug in at the bottom. They had like the little, you know, 3.5 millimeter jack, you know? So I had like this little, it was like a lapel mic that I plugged in here. I would talk like this and talk into it. And I was sitting in my truck at my office because they had good Wi-Fi, or I'd sit at McDonald's or someplace that had good Wi-Fi I could just, you know, piggyback off of.
Solid connection.
And oh yeah, because at home I couldn't get shit, and that was horrible. Because back then we couldn't, like, the way we do this show is we record, but we record locally on our own PCs, and then we upload the uploads, which flawless, which is great. But back then it's you recorded just how it recorded. So listening to that back then, it was so horrible. Like the audio was terrible. My voice sounded like I was like 30 million miles away or in a tin can or something. It was terrible. But listening to and we did an episode on ghosts, and for some, I don't know what it was. I'm gonna throw my hands up and go, I don't know. 13 Ghosts, the remake of 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
I hated it back then.
Back then you hated it.
Yeah, like
But now you don't hate it.
Hated it. Like I love it now. Like it's one of my favorite
That's
ghost
interesting.
films. But like, I know.
It's like I have like I don't hate it now, but I don't like it as much as I did when it came out.
Really? So you kind of switched.
Like I enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of aspects of it, but like every time I watch it, it gets a little cheesier.
Oh, it definitely is cheesy. And that's one thing we both, Kevin and I, agreed on then, was the fact it was cheesy. But like, I just despise that movie. I don't know what it was. I could not tell you if it was just like, it may have been my mindset. A lot of my movie likes and dislikes back then were my mindset. And of course, back then I was going through a divorce and life was just not going well. And this is like the only thing the podcast is the only thing in my life that was actually cool. So it's like, maybe I just was in the wrong headspace. But listening back, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? Whatever. But it is weird to hear all these movies I've picked as my top 5s in these different genres. And now I'm going, I would pick totally different. I mean, you know, there's some that, of course, are staples, but I would pick totally different films that weren't like the ones I love. You know what I'm saying?
You know, like that's the way it's got to be. If you stick with the same, like, that's it, these are my top whatevers for like your whole life, it's hard to have a conversation with that person all the time and like come up with
true. I mean, we did
know?
of one movie that
no, you can always have like, you know, like, I loved Candyman, R.I.P. Tony Todd, you know,
R.I.P. Tony Todd,
forever. I've loved it since I first saw it, and that's never going to change. but
Right.
like some movies are just top notch, and like some movies we loved, but they were cheesy. And then
True.
the times change and technology changes and the way people speak change and what's appropriate can change, and it changes your whole
Oh,
viewpoint on the
wow.
movie later, right?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the appropriate part is definitely huge now.
Yeah.
Because looking back at movies, back then,
Oh,
you watch it
I mean, hell,
now.
up until 10 years ago, not even.
Yeah, I mean, you watch a film now and you're like, oh, I love this film. It's like I want to show my kid, like I wanted to show my kids Ladybugs one night with Rodney Dangerfield, and we're watching
Yeah.
it, and I'm like,
The whole
oh my
aspect of like, the
God.
whole point of the movie, right? Is just
Yeah,
oh
like
my
the
God.
whole thing is like, yeah, I was like, this is okay. I'm sorry, this is not what I expected to come out of
It
this
goes that
movie.
way, and some of them are still good, and you got to remember it's a victim of its time, but
True.
it is what it is.
But it's so.
But
weird,
sometimes the
though.
humor just doesn't. It's not that it's just inappropriate. It's like, oh, like I found that funny then, I don't find it funny now. Like
Right.
a big one
'Cause
for me like
I'm-
that was the last time I watched, and I used to fucking love this movie, Cabin Fever.
Oh, dude,
The last time I watched Cabin Fever, I'm like,
Chris Elliott, dude.
yeah, I don't know.
That guy, man. That
I
guy.
don't know.
He
I'm
is-
like,
I mean,
I loved this movie for forever. And then
But
I
it was
watched
like
it with Natasha, and she's like, she was hating it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think I can blame you.
yeah. Of course, being the ages we were when we watched those films the first time is so much different than now.
Yeah,
so
we
it's
were
like,
sure, that's for sure.
yeah. I mean,
It's crazy because like you remember
anyone
it,
knows-
like if you haven't watched it in years, you remember it. Like, oh, that was good. That was good.
Oh, right,
But,
right.
Like, I don't have that feeling that I had when I first watched this one. So
Yeah. No, I fully understand that. And like people know me, I'm as immature as they come. I mean, I'm forever 12. So, but at the same point, there are some things I look back on and I'm like, that was me then. And this is me now. And I have to separate the two out. So I totally understand that. So,
yeah.
But and then there are some horror films that are just like that. I mean, I think definitely Sleepaway Camp is one of those that like has not aged well at all.
Sleepaway Camp's an interesting one though, because
I
like
don't-
I watched it thinking that I was gonna feel like that when I watched it just recently,
I definitely feel like that.
and then I was like, this is still great. Now,
But I hated it to begin with, though. I didn't like it to begin with.
oh,
So.
okay, well that's a big difference.
Sure.
For me, Sleepaway Camp was very much like this is such an accurate portrayal of the way kids talk.
Eat shit and die, Ricky. Eat shit and live, Bill.
Like,
True.
like this is kids unsupervised, like eat shit and die, like eat shit and live. Like
It was good. Now,
Like
okay,
classic
there are some
line,
epic parts. There's some epic parts in that film. I will agree. But the overall movie to me is just it's not well done.
It's
at
not
all.
like oh my god, this movie's genius. It's
Yeah,
it's for
but
me.
some
like,
people
for
think
camp,
that though.
like camp, and I don't mean camp as in sleepaway camp, but I mean camp as in like schlockiness camp.
Cheesy camp. Yeah.
It is what that was what I enjoyed about it. Yeah, for the budget and whatnot.
Yeah, true,
Yeah.
true. And Felissa Rose does a great job in it. People criticizing her acting in that film, and I'm like, well, first of all, she's very young. Second of all,
she was a kid.
She's trying to play that real reserved, awkward, and she plays the awkward very well in that. So
Good night, Angela.
Good night.
Good night.
very well in that. So
yeah.
people like to criticize, but I'm like, listen, no, you can't.
Also, it's hard
She
because
played
the kid
great.
that played Ricky, like her cousin, or it was Ricky, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
so, right?
yeah, I think that's right. All right, look it up.
I don't know.
I gotta look
Either
it up.
way,
It's killing me.
For some reason,
Yeah.
he's Ricky in my mind.
Okay,
What was I right? Let's see.
okay, let's see. Oh, if I could
Oh,
type, it'd be nice. Sleepaway Camp, and it is. You're right, Ricky.
That was right. Okay. He stole the
Nice.
fucking show. He stole
really
the fucking show, that kid. I don't know if
Yeah.
he his acting chops necessarily the same as an adult. But as a kid in that one role, dude, he was amazing.
He was good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean,
Like
overall
at playing
movie
who
I
he
didn't like.
was. At playing who
Yeah.
he was. I'm not saying this kid
Yeah.
could have been anything. I'm saying
no,
playing
no,
that
no.
role, he was phenomenal.
Well, and in horror, especially when you're talking about different characters as well, they are definitely written in certain ways, and the way the actors play them in my opinion, either they nail it or they miss it completely.
Yeah.
And roles like that, he definitely nailed it. And like I said, Felissa definitely nailed it on that. And you talk about other movies too that the acting's been criticized over and over again. But at the same point, you're like, that's exactly how that should have been played. So you can't fault anybody for that. So
yeah.
But people like Tate. So
what's a 2024 new release? What's on the new release shelf that's schlocky that you loved this year?
I mean, well, of course, we all know the schlocky movie that I loved is In a Violent Nature. I mean, that movie is schlocky as hell.
It is.
It is.
It is schlocky. My problem with it was promoted as if it wasn't.
True.
It was very much promoted as if like, oh, this is gonna blow your mind. And then when I started it, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this. Like, this isn't what I wanted. I would like to actually give it a second chance, knowing what it is at some point. But because I hated it, you know that, no secret.
Nobody changed your name.
I would like to see it going into it being like, I'm gonna watch a cheap movie, not like, you know, advertised as like groundbreaking horror. You know, like that's
to me it was, but I know for you that's not the same thing. So I know our views on that is totally different. So, but
what's a genuinely schlocky, like not great cinematography, like
for this year, dude. Okay, let me preface all this with just saying this: 2024 has been a great year for horror. I think we can both.
It's been better than I thought it would be.
Seriously, like it's. I mean.
But the ones that I've been enjoying, which I'm willing to talk about, they're not ones that got a lot of attention.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one I turned off. I know I turned one off the other day that I was like,
I turned a lot. I turned quite a few off.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what it was though, because like I started watching it, I was like, "This is just terrible. I can't."
I turned off Tarot. I know that. I couldn't.
I know. Oh, see, I heard that was really good actually. So it's one I still need to watch. But
I heard it was horrible, and then I had one or two people say like, "Oh, it's decent, like it's fun," and then I put it on with Natasha, and we were like, "See, I have another big thing, and there's another one. I think it's called It's What's Inside. It's another one that I didn't finish from 2024. New releases."
Yeah,
I feel horrible for the younger audience watching, but I can't handle the young adult, like 28 between 19 and 23 characters in most of these movies that are coming out.
Yes,
I don't like the way they talk. I don't like the way like they're like. Oh,
seriously,
it's like a whole different thing. Like, I know we grew up in different times. We had the 80s, we had the 90s. Like, we had the 2000s. And I like to think that I'm a fairly up-to-date type of guy. But, like, they're not likable. They're not likable. You hate everybody.
But, okay. Let me pile on here. Let me pile on from what you just said.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. I was at work the other night and I was trying to find a podcast to listen to while I was kind of working on a few things, just kind of keep my mind kind of going. And I won't say which one it was because I don't want to out anybody. But I turned on a podcast with a couple of early 20 somethings on there, thinking, okay, and it looked like it was kind of like an upstart. You know, they were kind of getting their feet wet and trying to figure things out. And I was like, all right, I'll give them a chance here. I can start from the ground up. I was like, this is great. And I get it was actually a Halloween 3 episode, and you know me in Halloween 3. I mean,
I love Halloween 3 as well.
Yeah. And I get like 10 minutes in and I am like, this is terrible. They don't know how to, first of all, they don't know how to podcast, right? Second of all, they don't know how to talk about a movie that's not like up to date. You know, this movie is very dated. You know, remember when those Halloween 3 is very dated.
Yeah, that's the flaw a lot of younger people have is that they didn't.
Yeah,
everything's been so polished since they were like a little kid that like they just can't like old stuff. They just don't see it.
Yeah, they were just laughing at it.
Yeah,
everything, and I was like, okay, I get, okay, maybe you laugh at a couple of things, and okay, this is like that, but overall, that movie is brilliant for the fact of the way it just unfolds.
Yeah.
And they were kind of making fun of the way it flows, and I'm like, listen, this is the 80s. Like this is a totally different time from where you are right now. Like, you know, you compare that, and of course people, oh, the 80s weren't so much different. Oh, they were way different. Completely different.
People now see the 80s and they don't they don't see it for the 80s. They see like flashy colors and neon, this and that. The same with the 90s. And
Retro.
both the 80s and the 90s were like, brown furniture and like everything looked like it was still from the 70s. Like it wasn't, unless you were like loaded, maybe if you were like,
unless you had a shitload of money,
like, like Zach Morris's room in fucking Saved by the Bell or something. Like that's not how everyone was. We had hand-me-downs. It was different.
Yeah. Dude, my almost my entire closet was hand-me-downs. Just to put that out
I love.
Like, I grew up
loved taking my older brother's clothes. So like I was happy with it.
What was really cool is my hand-me-downs came from a guy. My mom is one of her best friends. They were rich as hell. Like they were.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that got a lot of Tommy Hilfiger and Izod and all like that. So
mine were more so like I was like, oh, I got a Pantera shirt, or like, oh, I got like AC/DC shirt, like and they were too big on me, but I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. But like, see, I didn't get stuff like that, but I wish I gotten stuff like that. But beggars can be choosers, and I was happy with what I had, so it was what it was. But going back to this podcast though, it was just, and I use this word, and my daughters are always like, "Dad, stop saying that," but it was cringe. It was totally cringe. Yeah. And I was just like,
that's what I'm finding about these movies. Because I heard a lot of good things, especially about It's What's Inside. We're like, oh, it's actually pretty decent. Like, it's funny. It's whatever. I don't know if you've heard of this one yet, but the whole concept of the movie is like some rich dude is about to get married, and he invites all his like dickhead college buddies and to like his mansion or his parents' mansion to hang out the night before he gets married. And like one of them shows up that he hasn't seen for a while, and he has some weird invention where like they all plug it in while they're wasted, and like it like switches your brains around from person to person, so like they're in each other's bodies. And like there was an interesting aspect behind that, but like none of the characters were like, I was like, I hope you all get taken out. Like you're all so obnoxious that like I can't, even you switch bodies, I still don't like you.
Stuff like that. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't with that.
It's funny because a lot of the great movies that are new that are coming out, I feel like they portray younger people kind of like what we remember them like, and it's so much more likable.
True, because now and like I said, nothing against. I mean, like I said, there are some really cool kids that I've met. I met one. Actually, I met one just a few last month. I'm
not trying to take out an entire generation here.
Yeah,
but I mean,
I met this kid, and he was really cool. He was like 20 years old, but he had it down. Like he understood the assignment to kind of use the lingo, just kind of release everybody. But there are some kids that, like my daughter, I will out her right now. My 13-year-old, I love you to death, but wow, I can't with you. I can't. Anybody need a 13-year-old? Just take her. I'm kidding. But no, sometimes she does stuff. Sometimes she does stuff. I'm just like, what are you thinking? I don't know where your brain is right now. I don't understand it. But if you're watching this, I love you. I'm serious. I'm just kidding. But yeah, fuck those kids. So yeah, you're right. The whole generational gap between our generation and then the previous generation, and even the one before that, like my youngest daughter is in that one, Alpha. I don't understand that, but anyway, it's funny because I almost connect more with my youngest daughter than I do with my other two daughters, which is really weird because they're in that kind of the same area, but
personality based in a sense,
True.
Yeah, I mean, and not to say that every schlocky movie that I've stopped is because of the actors being young or the characters being immature or something like that. I tried to watch. I watched Stream. I know we were talking about that on the last episode.
That's what I gotta watch.
I think you might like it. It wasn't for me.
Okay.
It wasn't for me.
If you don't like it, I don't like it. So
I don't like how they push so much that like all these horror legends are in it. They're in it for like 10 seconds.
Oh, dude, it's whenever I see that now. Did you ever see Death House by any chance?
No, I didn't.
It was like the Expendables of horrors, what they were calling it.
Oh, I tried. I think I got like 2 minutes in.
Dude, I watched that entire movie. I wish I had that hour and a half back. Like, here's the thing funny about that. when I went to Crypticon in Kansas City, and I met Bill Moseley there. We actually had a conversation about Death because he's in Death House, and we had a little conversation about that and how horrible it was. And he was like, he totally agreed. He was like, it was terrible. I have nothing to say about it. I was like, I know, man, it's okay.
It's unfortunate.
We all have those moments, you know.
Because everyone's like Todd. Tony Todd is in Stream. I'm like, wow, is he in it for like maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes, like near the end, and like
that sucks.
He's not like. Anyway, it's not an original concept in any kind of way. It's like, but that being said, what's his name? Reanimator.
Jeffrey Combs.
I'm like Herbert West. Jeffrey Combs was fantastic. He's always fantastic. So like he kept me watching the movie. I think if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have finished it. But he was great. He was great.
He and Barbara Crampton are two of my favorites to watch on the screen. They're great.
Oh yeah, I know.
But
the legends are great. Like Bill Moseley pops up for like 45 seconds at the end. Like
it's so funny, just like a
almost.
pop-in.
I think it was like post credits. Like it was so weird.
Wow, that is weird.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's very very schlocky. Some cool deaths, but nothing really makes sense about them. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
I'll give it a watch.
It very much took me back to like the horror, like the schlocky horror of the early 2000s.
Yeah, and see, that's some of that stuff to me. It has to be schlocky in a good way and not schlocky in a bad way. And usually, early 2000s.
My schlock is 80s and 90s schlock.
You know,
that's my taste. But
it has, yeah. But I hate stuff that gives you that bad taste in your mouth. You know, where you're like you just woke up and you're like, I haven't drank anything for like 24 hours. And you're like, like that's terrible. Yeah, I don't like that feeling. That's the feeling I get from those kind of movies. So, yeah, it's but honestly, I really can't think of the movie. Maybe I'm just thinking of one that was from another time, but I haven't seen a movie from this year that I can think of that has really turned me off yet. Now I haven't seen Tarot yet, but and there are a few I still need to watch. But obviously, the ones I've watched so far have really surprised me and really have sucked me in. We watched Oddity the other night.
That's still on my list. Imaginary is another one that I stopped, but Oddity, I'm genuinely curious about.
I've heard Imaginary can go either way, so we'll need to watch that and see what we think about that one. But Oddity was actually really good. The very, very, very end of the movie could have been slightly different, but it still was.
That's an unfortunate flaw in our genre.
But in its defense, it really doesn't affect the movie at all, which is really cool. Is you could totally just ignore that part of it, and the whole movie is really solid. I think I liked it a lot because it was kind of the same old kind of story, but they had some cool twists and some really effective jump scares. So I was really surprised about that. Yeah,
a lot of people are against the jump scares, but I'm horror's had jump scares since the get-go. I can understand if you like solely rely on that, and like that's all the movies: jump scare. Right. It's like, okay, no, like. It's not a haunt, like walking through a maze at Halloween Horror Nights on repeat or something like that.
Yeah, use it effectively, and
you need a creep factor that leads you into the jump scare.
Yes, and see that's what Oddity does. Oddity does it. That creep factor is always it's a very creepy, dark, something in the corner kind of film.
Where you're always looking on your. I'm definitely gonna check that one out.
So yes, that was one I was really really excited about. One I know that people are very split on is you saw Trap, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I did.
So you saw
I
Trap.
wouldn't consider it horror after seeing it, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. They were kind of pushing it as horror, more a thriller, but it was. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Shalamalan. He doesn't really do horror. Even Sixth Sense was on brink.
Dude, Signs.
Horror. Signs was sci-fi though.
Signs was
scary,
horror,
but it was sci-fi.
It was horror. I'm sorry.
Like, I would call it more
sci-fi
sci-fi than horror. Where I would call the Thing more horror than sci-fi.
We disagree on that.
Like They Live to me is sci-fi.
Like Signs was horror for the fact that there was.
It's a great movie.
I felt scared. If I feel scared for people, then it's like for almost like no, I'm not talking about like
you in that sense.
The entire film was scary.
Of terror, but like here's my thing: is like I don't consider Silence of the Lambs horror. I don't consider Jaws horror. I don't
psychological
consider American Psycho horror. I consider
psychological horror
is like there's thrillers with elements of terror. You know what I mean? Where like you get scared
Sure.
kind of thing, but the intention of the movie isn't to just like scare you all the time.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I think Silence of the Lambs is definitely psychological. It definitely throughout the entire movie, you're always thinking about what's going
Like
on
there's a
and
lot
what
of
could
serial killer
happen, and,
movies that aren't horror, but like would
But
you
see,
consider Zodiac like a horror movie or things like that? Like I don't.
I mean, no, because they
If
didn't
I
really
was
tell
living
it
it,
as
I might.
horror. Well, that's very true. But at the same point, I think you
Yeah.
have to also understand that horror reaches farther than some people
It does.
even
It
understand.
does.
You know,
I totally.
I'm
get
not
it.
saying
And
you
like I said,
don't. I'm not saying you don't.
it's a thin line that separates them for me. It's not like, oh no, it's not at all. Like Jaws, like
Right.
Jurassic Park is technically somewhat of a horror movie, but like
But
I don't
but-
put it in the
but-
horror section.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely an action film, but it has some scary parts. But like,
Mm.
and honestly, in that movie, I'm not always scared for the people. Not always. Like, there's something
Yeah.
that when they're imminent with the dinosaur right there in front of them. Yeah, I'm scared for them.
It's hard
But when
because
they're
there's
doing other
there's a
things, it's
very
like-
thin line. There's a very thin line. Now another one was
True.
the older one with Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas, The Ghost in the Darkness. Now, I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
seen that one.
It's been a while. I saw you watch it the other night, so
Definitely get caught up on that, dude. That movie is so good. That movie
need to
is
watch
so,
it.
and it's a true story, which makes it even better.
oh wow, I didn't
Uh,
know that. Okay,
But that movie is fantastic. It's very much like Jaws, but with lions and a true story instead of based on a book. But
right.
yeah, they both killed it in that movie. And again, like that's that type of like there's like an animal attack type of flick. That's not like it doesn't just like hit the horror line for me. It's just like right on the line, on the edge of it. On the edge
Right.
of it. I mean,
But if you want to call a movie horror, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's how it's,
no, I
it's a
don't-
lot of personality. It's a
I
lot
don't
of how you
discredit
feel.
anybody.
and-
Jaws is one of my
Right.
favorite top movies of all time. And I'm a big
Right.
horror guy. So you would think, oh, this guy loves it because it's horror. I'm like, I love Jaws because it's perfection on film. From the script to the everything, to the effects, to the music, to the cinematography, like it's perfect. It's flawless.
But you're weird, so we understand why you don't think that's horror. So it's okay. It just makes me scream Jesus, man. Come on. Read my Bible. It's okay. But no, it really is a fine line between horror and thriller and terror and action. We talked about Alien and Aliens. I think I consider Alien more of a horror film. Aliens is
like
action.
Alien. I consider more of a horror film. Aliens, I consider more of an action movie.
Exactly.
There is a big group of people out there that are like, oh, Aliens is better than Alien, and for me, I'm like, not a chance.
No, I was in that camp for a while,
Fun
but I
movie.
switched back. So
Yeah, what? When I was younger, for a little bit too, it's a fun movie, and I really like it. Like I really, really enjoy it. To me, it's still the second best Alien movie.
True.
But
True.
yeah, no, it's not horror. It's
Have
like
you
fun.
seen-
There's a lot of comedy in it.
yeah. I'm switching gears for just a second because it just popped in my head. But have you ever seen Contact?
I have not. Is that the Jodie Foster one?
Oh my yes. Okay,
Yeah.
we
For
talked
some
about
reason,
that.
I never saw it.
Dude, that movie. Okay, so harking back to my past as well, that
Mhm.
was like my number one film in the alien genre. And that movie today still holds that place and will forever hold that place in my
Was
heart.
it more of a drama?
It was,
Yeah.
but of course it has alien stuff in it.
Mhm.
And but
Big
dude, that
sci-fi guy
movie-
when you were younger?
Not really.
No.
But watch the movie and you'll understand.
Okay.
Because I could explain it to you, but
it was the
wouldn't,
90s, and the 90s, some of those sci-fi movies had like, remember Fire in the Sky?
Oh, we talked about that one too. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorites as well. That's
Yeah.
I mean that movie has about maybe like I don't know 20 minutes of actual action of
Yeah,
stuff
I
that
know.
actually happens. But the whole movie is surrounding it is all about
Yeah.
The town and the people and what's going on and what they're trying to figure out. But like that 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever long it was, terrifying, completely.
Horror is a funny genre like that, though.
terrifying.
We get drama, we get comedy, we get thriller, we get sci-fi, we get action, and they all kind of get tossed in there. Like another one that I watched again, which I haven't seen for a little while the other day, was The Dead Zone. Phenomenal
Wow, I haven't
movie.
seen that in forever.
Phenomenal movie.
Walking.
Yeah, Walking, and Stephen King's story, Cronenberg behind the wheel.
Right.
It really doesn't get much better than that, and it's a solid
Yep.
movie from beginning to end. But it's not very much horror in any way. Like there is a serial killer
No.
subplot in there, but like
Yeah.
it's not even the main aspect of the movie. So
yeah, I wouldn't consider
like,
either. So yeah, I'm with you.
I would consider like The Gift, Sam Raimi's The Gift, more horror than that, and it's in somewhat of a similar vibe with like,
Dude,
you know,
that movie is fucked up.
oh, that movie's so good. That movie's so good,
God,
and you
so
get Keanu
good.
in a bad guy role, which is very rare.
Yeah, that's
He
yeah.
does. He's such a he can play it really well. They just never put
Yep.
him on for it because everyone
No.
loves Keanu.
Because everyone loves Keanu. I mean,
But
that's,
another one that's almost horror with Keanu that is an interesting one for me is The Watcher. I don't know if you've ever seen The Watcher with James Spader.
it's been a while. Dude, a lot of these movies I've seen, but they've been it's such a long time away. I need to rewatch some of these.
So Keanu fucking hated that movie.
Really?
He declined any sort of promotion for it. He only did it via contract because he was forced to. But I love that movie. No one likes it. It's got shit reviews and but it's for like a serial killer chase kind of movie. Like I thought it was really cool.
I kind of.
You haven't seen The Watcher? Check it out.
I'm about to say it's been forever, and I don't really remember much about it. But I need to go back and watch it. So
I can't really think. Can you think of any other movies Keanu is a bad guy? I can only think of those two.
I mean, like,
what else do we got?
Technically, you could say Knock Knock if you want to really get down into the meat of that movie.
Dick, yeah.
But like, you know, I mean, like, you know, but I mean, you know, as much as a villain as he could be in that movie, he really was because he totally does that to himself. Dude, that movie's so good. Oh my god! I mean, not just the fact of what happens in the film, but like just the acting is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he technically you could say he's a bad guy in that because of what unfolds, but. I can't really think of anything else other than that, though. Honestly, yeah, I can't think of anything else. So, because he's just a likable guy, you know.
This is the truth. Yeah. Keanu Reeves is in real life and in the movies, which is funny because there's a good 15-year period where he was probably one of the most insulted actors in Hollywood. And then John Wick came out and everyone forgot that happened. And everyone jumped on board. Oh, I always loved Keanu Reeves. I'm like, you assholes. You talk so much shit.
Do that.
I always loved Keanu Reeves.
Always.
I'll give you one Keanu Reeves movie that's a movie that I love, but he's fucking terrible in and definitely miscasted. And that's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I agree. I love him in that movie, but also he was really terrible in the movie.
He was miscast in that movie. Poor bastard.
He didn't fit.
He did not fit with everybody else.
But his acting was great.
Another movie, same cast, sure. But I don't think he's the English accent type of guy.
I've seen many strange things already. Bloody wolves chasing me through some blue inferno.
No. But in saying that, he did a really good job. I mean, he was miscast, but he did a good job.
His acting wasn't bad. It was his accent that was so
right.
bad that it was.
That's what I'm saying. His acting was. Yeah, that's what I mean. His acting was great.
I think it was because it was the 90s and the Keanu train was still riding pretty hard. So
it was speed and
Francis Ford Coppola was like, put him in there.
Just grab his ass and we'll just throw him in there. Don't worry about it. We'll sort it out later.
Monica Bellucci and a bunch of hot female vampires go after him, and no one's going to notice his accent.
If let me just say this: if I ever had to choose the way I was going to go, and this is, of course, if I'm single,
how he almost goes out in that movie.
Yeah, if I'm single, babe, I love you. Just so you know. But I would want, bro. The hole is filling. I'm filling the hole back in because I was saying if I'm single. But what guy can honestly deny this? You know that's straight. Or if you could switch the vampires to male, to go out just to be having your blood just sucked dry by a bunch of hot women, you just kind of just fade away, or hot men, whatever your thing is. But think about that.
Vampires in general are very sensual creatures, so they with the costume design and the acting and the people they chose, it just it fit like a glove. Mm-hmm. It was great. That was a great scene.
Oh,
great movie altogether.
Sure. I love it. It's my favorite vampire film of all time. So yeah. But yeah, kind of digressing. Let's get back to the 2024 stuff. We do that a lot. I mean, that's what we do, you know. So, one movie that I really, really, really enjoyed that is blowing up right now. God, The Substance.
Substance was really good.
I did not expect what I saw on screen, and I was, to me, more. Oh my God, wow.
Well, it wasn't a shock to me that Demi Moore was great. Like she's
True.
always done a good job and everything.
But she's been gone for a while, though. She's been gone for a while.
She has, but actors and actresses they tend to not lose it so much as directors.
True.
Actually, directors tend to kind of lose it when they've been gone for a while.
True.
She did great. The movie was really cool, artistically fantastic, but at the same time, not terribly original.
No,
a lot of inspiration from Kubrick in The Shining, in a lot of shots.
Right, but
which is not a bad
though?
thing. Not a bad
Okay,
thing.
about to say that. Okay, I kind of like that. So
still enjoyed the movie. Visually, it was very striking, and I'll give it that. My one flaw with the movie, and it's just funny coming from a straight male, there was too much focus on the younger girl's like ass. You know what I mean? Like
that was definitely
to the point where I was like, you're taking a movie that's supposed to be kind of smart and up to date, and you're kind of making it for like frat boys.
I agree. Completely.
They didn't have to do it that many times for that long. We got the point. We got the point after the first time. Like
her ass was on screen. Her ass was on screen longer than Anthony Hopkins was on screen in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, I read
just
that.
to bring that back around.
Her ass had more runtime.
Seriously, and I mean, if that was her choice, then more power to you. You wanted to show yourself up, whatever. It's fine.
It's the filmmakers. Like we didn't need it. We didn't need it to tell the story, and it was to be honest. I mean, it was distracting. Why wouldn't it be?
Very.
But aside from that, I think it was pretty great.
Yeah. It was, like I said, it was the gore, and it was really. It wasn't overly done. It was just enough to where it made the point. I'm a big
body
needle
horror,
guy.
right?
Yeah, I'm a big needle guy. You know that, and the needle, I couldn't watch the needle stuff, so I missed. Probably like a third of the movie just don't watch the needle stuff. But
you just keep jabbing her.
Oh God!
Over and over.
It's just, I just can't. I was like, okay, I go like that. I go, okay, we good. Oh,
I wish I was good. I'll you for that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was brutal. It was brutal, but I appreciated it because they really did go all out.
Like we need to do a special needles episode. Yeah.
Savvy. I'm taking applications for new co-hosts. It's been fun, buddy. We've had a good run, but I think it's time for you to go.
Oh shit!
But
we'll go from like this doesn't bother me to like this bothered me a lot. That top notch.
I was like that. But no, one more thing I'm going to say about it too, about the substance is. It was it had a good message behind it. Of course, you said it got muddled a little bit with the ass, but overall, I think the story was definitely well driven, well thought out, and well executed on that end.
Yeah.
So that's why I really enjoyed it because it wasn't just some gore for gore's sake or body horror for body horror's sake. It was definitely had a point. It was very, like you said, it was very well done. They could really fuck that up. But they didn't. So,
yeah. I mean,
if you haven't seen it,
it was just. Oh wait, don't do that. I'm supposed to make it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go like this. But
just like I said, just a little too much ass. Starting to feel like fucking Dennis Quaid was in the movie. You know?
Oh God, dude, that was gross. I won't say what he does in that movie, but oh my God,
when they were showing that, like his version of it being like gross, but I was just like, hey, you're just like throwing it in. It's like fucking Hereditary with the kid getting their fucking head smashed. Like you're just throwing it at me again and again and again. I don't need to see it that many times.
Yeah, but it was very effective though, in my opinion, and it was very excessive, but I think it was very, very. I'm going to say necessary because that's not a good word. It was just really upsetting, and but it also drove the point home, which really, really did. So, yeah, I won't say what he does, but you really got to. Quaid in this movie was unreal. Like I want to hear his interview about his part because it was just.
Who was it that was originally supposed to play his character? Was it Ray Liotta? I don't know. I think it might have been supposed to be Ray Liotta.
Oh, he would have done a great job.
I can't remember who I read about. I think
because Liotta,
possibly that
because he passed away, and that's probably why they didn't cast him because he's dead. But yeah, he would have done it. Zombie Liotta. I mean, fucking amazing, but like still.
All respect, legendary actor.
Yes, we're totally joking, but also like much respect for Ray Liotta because he's amazing. But Yeah, that was one I was really, really excited to watch, and I was really glad that it actually worked out. We didn't really talk about Trap. We kind of used this as a catalyst.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's go back for that for a minute.
Subgenres.
Yeah,
Trap.
we do a lot, but Trap.
I would say I liked it, but I did not love it, and I did not hate it.
Yeah.
My personal opinion on it, and I'm trying to say this without spoiling anything, but at the same time, I can't really say it without spoiling something.
So go ahead about 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. So
yeah, maybe a little more. Just hit pause and maybe
a minute
skip around until it looks like we're talking about something else.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
So the Josh Hartnett's character, the Butcher,
Mm-hmm.
I very much see that as a supernatural role. I see this being in the same universe as Unbreakable and Split and Glass. And if it's not, it was a terrible piece of shit movie. But if it was, then it makes sense, because this guy was taking people out left, right, and center without any effort whatsoever. And he's not John Wick. He's a firefighter in the movie.
Right.
At the same time, there is a key scene near the end where he snaps. Like, there's a lot of clues into the movie about how strong he is, right? Like, there's times where he's like tasered multiple times, he's poisoned, and like he just keeps walking away from it, no problem.
Yeah.
And there's another scene right near the end where something's happening, and he snaps the spoke off of a bicycle wheel without making a sound, without any effort, almost like he's picking a tissue off the floor. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Like, Josh Hartnett can't do that.
I think that they are doing that, and I didn't even see that before. So I'm glad you said that. Now it gives me a whole new view on the movie. So
it makes so much more sense that way.
And you know what we can do? You know, as viewers, as lovers of movies, we can take that movie and put it in the universe, even if it's not.
We can.
That's our decision. So I'm doing that. I'm doing that anyway. So
we can. I was talking to someone the other day as well, and they were talking to me about another movie where, like, oh, they watch it in a viewpoint where, like, it's entirely different, like, and I was like, that's actually pretty interesting. Like, they were talking about Candyman, actually.
Oh yeah.
And they were saying that, like, oh, what if it was all in Helen's mind, you know, and none of it was actually happening, and kind of deal, and like, and I was like,
that's insane.
It's an interesting way of watching it, you know.
Very. I like that, actually.
But yeah, with Trap, like I said, if it did follow what I'm saying, I enjoyed it. I'd like to see more into that universe as a standalone. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. But the Unbreakable universe is fucking amazing. I loved Glass, and I loved Split. I loved all those movies.
I liked Split. I love Unbreakable.
Yeah, Unbreakable is fantastic.
Glass, so. I was very disappointed by in the end. I was expecting this, like, epic kind of conclusion, and spoiler alert again, to see fucking Bruce Willis go out in a puddle of water on the floor.
that was okay. That was a little disappointing. You're right. I
was like, I built up like, what, 15 years for this.
Yeah, but the build up to it was fantastic. The actual ending wasn't that great.
Give us the payoff that we deserved as fans of the films, and I think that was.
I totally understand that. I understand
why it didn't go forward, but I think I said, if this fits in that universe, I like. What do you think of Trap?
I mean, at first I didn't see that at all, but even barring knowing that or thinking about that way, I enjoyed it. It was some stuff that didn't line up, but you know, sometimes in M. Night Shyamalan movies, it is stuff you don't see readily right there in your face, or he doesn't really spell it out for you. So again, I was like, all right, cool. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing here. And of course, now you explained it to me, and I'm like, well, shit, I fucking missed that. I'm old. I miss things all the time. But I did enjoy it for what it was. I thought it was very clever. And especially most people have been to a concert. Now, not most people have not been on the floor like they were really close. You know, most people are sitting in the nosebleed section. But you've been to a concert. You know how it all works. You know how things are. You know how vendors act. You know how security is. So to see all that security, and you're going, wow, this is something different when you first started. Because I went into this completely blind. Just all I knew was it was as a serial killer. And it was at a concert. That's all I knew going in.
I didn't look into it much. I did hear, like, I read headlines of articles that were saying, like, oh, this could be part of the M. Night Shyamalan Unbreakable Glass universe. And so I went into it kind of with that expectation. And then when I was talking to somebody afterwards about it, she was saying like, "Oh, I didn't think about that at all. Like, I hated it because of like, you know, it didn't make any sense." And I'm like, "Well, if I look at it that way, I hated it too."
Yeah, and I can't fault you for that because it makes sense. It makes total sense. Because M. Night Shyamalan movies are definitely one of those niches that they can either hit perfectly or they can miss
there's not a lot
entire
that I
mark.
love. Yeah,
No,
like
I mean,
Sense,
like
Signs.
see, I love Sixth Sense and Signs, but like Lady in the Water was one I didn't like very much.
I couldn't even finish that movie, and The Village I finished, and I didn't like that either.
Dude, I love The Village. Oh my god, I didn't see that coming
I
at all.
expected so much from it, and I was like, that's it.
Really? I expected a lot, and I got a lot.
Needed
I
to
really
go
enjoyed
further.
that movie. I just really enjoyed that movie a lot. But anyway, you and I are way different on those kind of things. Which I think
I haven't
is
seen it since it came out. Granted, I'll give you that.
You need to watch it again.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Village since it was a new release.
So yeah, you need to seriously watch it again because you may. It's been a lot. That's been
I'm not denying
a long
that.
time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So definitely check it out. Let me know what you think on your rewatch. But like I said, his movies came in like The Happening. I didn't like that a lot when it first came out, and now
I heard that
like
one's
it a
getting
whole
bigger
lot, so.
now. Actually, interesting enough.
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg, of course, is not the greatest person, but he is a decent actor in some roles. I'll put it that way.
Mark Wahlberg's interesting. He plays
he
some
did a good
roles
job,
really
though.
well, but a lot of times he's just kind of Mark Wahlberg, and
he's typecast. He's Adam Sandler. You know, kind of like
good movie.
Dude, that fucking amazing movie. So I agree with that. See, so like certain movies he's really good in, and some movies he's just out of place.
Do you remember that action movie he was in the 90s called The Big Hit?
Vague, yeah, kind of. It was kind of like almost like a
Phillips.
Yes. I do remember that.
Man, it was such a movie of its time. I barely remember any of it. I just remember the action scenes when I was a kid. Like I really enjoyed all the action and like it was
the camera angles and it was like like snapping and like the different things
very
that
much
pop up
of
on the
its
screen.
time.
And, yeah. Kind of reminds me of Lucky Number 11. It has that same kind of feel to it. But
Lucky Number 11 was more intelligent though.
Oh no! I'm just saying it was like that. It was way more intelligent.
You.
It was kind of like that. So same feel for me. You know, and when I say feel a lot. When I say feel, it just means it has that same kind of aura about it. And I'm not talking about specifics at all. I'm talking about just the aura of whatever it is. Because you and I give off the same aura, but when we get down to it, you're way better looking and just a much better human being than I am. So see that was very good. That was very good because I'm old and decrepit and I need to just go like this. When I look at you, I'm like, damn, I am ugly. I am
beautiful
ugly.
bastard.
I appreciate you lying to my face, but you know I love you to death. But anyway, all right, let's move on from Trap. There's a couple more that I watched. Watch Baghead yet?
Not yet. Was that 2024?
Hold on. I'm pretty sure it was. Let me just make sure.
I thought that was 2023. I'm trying to get caught up on my 2024s. I didn't watch Baghead yet. I have it ready to go.
You're right,
watched it
motherfucker. I thought it was 2024. Damn it. Okay, never mind. All right. Speak No Evil. What about that?
Not yet.
Did you watch that? Oh,
Not yet.
That movie was some issues with it. I had some issues with it. I won't lie. It wasn't the greatest movie of all time.
It's pretty good.
No, it's a very good way to put that. It wasn't perfect, but it was a really good film. I think, and to know that McAvoy didn't have a script for this movie, like he would walk into a scene and he would just, that's what made me love it so much.
I saw the funniest meme about that movie actually, and it was like talking about how his successful transition from like James McAvoy into Gerard Butler.
Yes, because he definitely has that Butler vibe, dude. Too.
It looks like him now.
He is, yes, and he is jacked too. Like he's much bigger than Butler ever was, though. Honestly,
yeah.
So
Butler was never that big until these guys were never that big until they made movies. You know,
what do you think about Gladiator?
Like
he was
pretty built
Split.
in
that, but true.
No, not Gladiator 300.
Oh, you're talking about McAvoy.
No, McAvoy was in Split. That's when he got
Split.
Jacked.
Right, but he's
Ryan
still
Reynolds got jacked for Blade / Amityville. These guys it's funny because when you see these guys before, and even Hugh Jackman, like for Wolverine, and it's funny when you look at Wolverine before and was like, Wolverine's jacked. I'm like, dude, I see Wolverine in the first movie. I'm like, he's not in better shape than me.
Nothing. But did you? Okay, fun fact.
I'm like, this guy looks like a fucking wax figure.
Seriously, but fun fact though, there was a scene in I guess it's The Wolverine. when it was like
that was the better one.
whenever
The better one.
it's
I think it was to
overseas.
Japan or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where he has his shirt off and he's in his battle, and there's this cool shot of him just standing there, and he has his claws out and he's just going like that, and his body is just perfect. And I say perfect, and I mean perfect. He said in order to get that shot, he had to dehydrate himself for 24 hours.
These are what these actors do. Normally, like,
he said
36 hours before screen time, they don't drink any water.
No, and he was ripped.
You see them between shots, they give them weights and they'll start like pumping. They get a pump going.
But and people say all the time,
acting's easy. This, everybody. This part of film is not real. These guys don't walk around looking like that on a regular day-to-day basis, right? They
literally almost kill themselves.
This is shadows. This is everything, and it's like, don't be proud of your accomplishments, 100%.
True,
but don't forget these guys. They have professionals helping them out. Hugh Jackman's a professional weight trainer, bodybuilder. He's got a team of very expensive guys telling him what to eat and making him food and making sure he gets everything he needs. Standards are high these days, and that's kind of something that bothers me a little bit. I like to take care of myself too. It hasn't though. It hasn't. That's the thing. It's been there in a very slight way, and it's like as soon as we started to kind of get caught up as humans and being like, I take care of myself, like I kind of look healthy like that guy in the movie 20 years ago. As soon as that happened, they took it up like 20 fucking more notches. Before we had like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme. Like those were the guys that you saw on screen that were like, just like, wow, these guys are like monsters, And then everyone else was kind of just like, oh, like they take a Bruce Willis or some shit, like Antonio Banderas, like they were just healthy guys.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
I can argue that.
And nowadays
there's a little bit of both, so
nowadays it's like, Skarsgård playing a meth head as the Crow, and fucking he's like jacked at all holy hell, and I'm like, dude,
because meth addicts are jacked.
When do these guys do this? And like even like the long running series Supernatural, that one always bothered me because I was a big Supernatural fan the first few seasons, and these boys live in their car and stay in motels and sleep for 3 hours a night and eat pie and cheeseburgers all day. And they take off their shirts, and it's just like, bro, you just walk out of the gym for 3.5 weeks. Like, what the fuck is this?
No, I'm with you.
I want that cheeseburger diet with the pie for dessert.
Hollywood's a different place. It's a different planet almost, and it's the things they do and things they go through and the things that they portray on films. It is all. I don't want to say it's fake because it's not fake, but it's a fake portrayal. It's not fake. All that stuff is they actually.
That's the harsh part, and it's funny because we're talking about the substance and the message that it's portrayed, and it's very good. It's a very good message, and I want everybody to kind of know this and that message too. Like I take care of myself. I'll post pictures on Instagram and shit like that. Not overly with like I don't take my fucking shirt off and like try and get perfect or anything, but take care of yourself.
Have you ever seen your nipples before?
Be healthy. I think maybe by a little flash, but not in a picture. I'm gonna need
that picture later on. I'm gonna need that picture later on.
If anything, is in one of the podcasts.
Hi, I can see them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, take care of yourself. Be happy, be proud. But like,
true.
Don't try and give everyone the illusion that you're perfect all the time. Nobody's perfect. And the guys that are fit and ready for competition, and the women as well. They're not happy and healthy, and they're not mentally well. Like they're dying for what we enjoy on a day-to-day basis or once a week basis, even.
True.
We like our water and hydration, and you like having pizza on the weekends, or maybe cheating a couple times with desserts during the week. Like
a couple of beers.
It's okay. It's okay. That's all right. That's all I want to say.
But well, one of my goals on this show, and I know you have probably noticed it, and I probably haven't said it out loud, but if you haven't noticed, and people watching out there, if you haven't noticed, one of my goals is to make Savvy uncomfortable in certain aspects. And it's funny to watch him break because you're a very serious person, and when I say something that really gets you, I can tell because your eyes have like this glow about them. You're just like, oh, it's funny. I watch.
I'm not that serious of a person. Come on.
I mean, compared to me, you are. I mean,
I don't know,
I'm the
man.
goofiest
We need to hang out in person.
Seriously,
because I'm
a fucking
goofball, like straight up. You ask Natasha,
texting all
I
the time
had that
is,
impression
you
at
know,
first. I very much have that impression at first. But once you
true.
get to know me and I get comfortable around you, like the longer I'm around you, like, bro, I'm a clown.
But see, but in a way, I've been holding back just a little bit on things
I can
say
tell. I know
sometimes
you have been too.
because I don't want to totally make it weird. I want to make it uncomfortable, but not
I think
weird.
we're
if you know
both
what that
just
means.
shy about fully being ourselves, kind of like how most people
True.
are. Yeah.
True. But especially
Yeah.
being on camera.
Bro, I'm all funny
if I was
sounds
behind
and
the
fucking
if I was behind
voices
this
and
mic,
accents all the time.
yeah. If I was behind this mic and no camera, I could totally be more myself. But having to be on film, on screen is definitely a huge jump for me. The amount of time setting up for this bullshit and getting
We're
this beard to
confident
look the way it
guys, but
does,
there isn't
it's
a
weird.
level of confidence that's above us that you can
True.
just people can just be total goofs and be themselves on screen, and that's goals,
Like
bro.
Jim Carrey.
Goals.
Like, you know, yeah.
I
I
looked
definitely
up to
wish I
Jim
had
Carrey
that.
so much as a kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be that. Like, I would in the mirror, like I
Yeah.
would be in the mirror for hours, like learning to move different muscles in my face so that I could
Yep.
make these fucking weird faces. And
That was just the way it went back then, you know.
yeah, man.
But yeah,
I did it for nothing. But
well, true, but because now you're not like that at all. But still, it helps you kind
I
of
can still
become
do it.
looser, you know. But seriously, I definitely try my best to say things that are going to catch you off guard and get that go, ooh, you know, it's kind of thing. So it doesn't happen a lot, but it does. It has happened a couple of times before, and I really should find those exact moments and
those are
then
the
put a little
clips you gotta
compilation
post. There
together.
you go.
Yes, I need to figure those out because those were brilliant.
Oh shit.
But one more movie. Let's cover one more and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm hungry.
Yo, me too.
just
I
watch
got
this-
nachos coming tonight.
Oh, I will have something up there. I'm not sure if it's something. Anyway, you watch it just like last night or the night before Azrael.
Azrael was actually really good.
Yeah, I
Surprisingly
really
good,
enjoyed it
and
too.
nobody talked about it.
No.
Samara
Under the
Weaving
radar.
is definitely a scream queen that does not get enough attention. I will
Mhm.
say that a million times over.
I agree.
She is phenomenal in everything I've ever seen her do, whether horror or not horror. But that movie itself was like, I found it to, I think the creatures in it were fucking great. I haven't seen creatures kind of like that since The Descent. Very much reminded me of that, which
Yep.
is a legendary flick.
It's great.
Very good movie. I think that in comparison, it has somewhat of a comparison to The Quiet Place.
Yes, I thought that exact
But
same thing. So
I don't like The Quiet Place at all. And
I like it a little bit.
Loved Azrael. Like if Azrael
Yeah.
could have gotten the hype that The Quiet
Yeah.
Place got, so much more deserved. So much more
Oh,
deserved.
No, I agree. I agree.
One of my
Quiet Place
top
was good,
recommendations of
but
2024. Like I haven't
Yeah,
seen
same
that
here.
many 2024 flicks that I'd add to my collection. I would add that one to my collection.
because I mean, literally, there's nothing spoken. The only time someone ever speaks is there's one part in the middle
You get a
where
little,
she meets a guy,
yeah.
and he speaks in Spanish
Yeah.
for about maybe 2-3 minutes, maybe. And
And
that's
I don't
about
think
it.
there was even any subtitles or anything. It was just
No,
you
you
didn't
have no
know
idea
what
what
was
he's
going
saying.
on. It wasn't even 2-3
Yeah.
minutes. It was quick.
Well,
It's
maybe
quick.
like a minute. You're right. Maybe
Yeah.
like a minute. Yeah,
It felt like
But,
longer, but yeah,
it really did feel like longer because like
Yeah.
you're trying. But the one part about that
very nice paced
was
movie.
bothering me was the fact that he was talking to her and not looking at the road. And
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, look at the road. You're gonna look at the road. Look at the road. And he
but
was like,
that's
oh my
that's
god.
that's the way it's done always.
I know.
That's the way it's
I
done.
know.
You're always every time I'm
But it
watching
was-
a movie and someone's not looking at the road, I'm just waiting. Or like when someone like backs up into a street and I'm
Yes.
like, come on, hit him.
There it goes. Let's go. Check him out. It's all right. But no, that was it was very tense moments. So that was very good. They did that very
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But yeah, Smart Weaving, amazing. And I know I gave the movie a lot of shit. Scream 6, but her part in that was
She was
actually
the best
really
part.
good. She was the
She was
best part of the movie, honestly. Yeah. So I want to see more. And I think they're doing Ready or Not 2, which I'm really excited about. So did you like Ready or
on
Not?
the fence because I like Ready or Not, and I don't
Yeah.
know how they're going to make a part 2.
I don't either.
So
but
that's what part I'm
excited.
curious about.
Ma-
I'm like,
Maybe they'll go
please
back
don't
and
do
show.
this. Please don't do this just because you're out of ideas. Like, actually, I hope this is actually
True.
good.
Well, I mean, it was from the makers of Scream 5 and 6. So,
But they made Ready or Not,
I know, but
which
I think
is
they
like
just
I
kinda
said, listen, I'm
shot
not
their
saying
wad,
that
you
the
know.
writers are like, these are the worst piece of shit writers ever.
No,
They can make great movies if they want. They just can't make a Scream movie. I'm sorry, but that's
Wes
not.
Craven. makes great Scream movies.
Even by 4, Wes Craven was having trouble making a great Scream movie. And I'll say
say that one more time. Say it one more time.
By part 4, Wes Craven was having a hard time making a great Scream movie. The original trilogy.
I'm gonna reach through this camera and smack you in the face.
Strangle me.
I'm gonna grab you.
I have a Scream 4 poster on my wall because I love the poster.
I love Scream 4, dude. I love Scream 4.
I love Screams 1 to 3, and I know a lot of people love Scream 4. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I just don't think it's on par with the original trilogy.
Oh, but it's not supposed to be. That's the point.
Well,
that is the point.
It's supposed to be a good movie. They make movies to be good. You can't say I made this to be bad. Oh my god.
Okay. Wait. Let's just stop.
You got to think of here's my quick rundown on Scream 4. Okay.
Go ahead.
Somewhat of a rehash of the first movie. Okay. Soundtrack, not on point. Not on point compared to the first 3. Also, just like everything all together, like it had some of the chase still, but like it just felt forced. It felt forced. It felt like Scream 3 wrapped everything up so nicely, and we could have just been good. Because the whole thing in Scream, it's a trilogy. Oh, it's now a trilogy. Here are the rules of a trilogy. And now we're getting into a part 4. And that makes things harder to catch back up on. And I'm not saying they failed miserably. I'm just saying like hey, and compared to 5 and 6, it was fucking great. But yeah, no, that wasn't. It's not every time I watch all the Scream movies, I'm not as excited to watch 4 as I am from 1 to 3.
Are you done?
I'm done now.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. I'm going to say one thing, and we're going to move on. you just said it felt rushed, right? You felt rushed. Again, that was the entire point of that movie, is the fact that it felt, or forced. You said forced. Excuse me, not rushed, forced. The whole point of the movie is that this little bitch that thought she was better than Sydney was trying to take over Sydney's role. Of course, she was trying to force herself the entire time. That's why it felt forced, because it meant to feel forced.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
That's the only way of looking at it.
I've never heard anyone else say that, so it's not the only way of looking at it.
All right, anyway, that's all.
Also,
that's it.
That's it. A lot of people give her the title as like their favorite slasher, like their favorite Ghostface.
Who?
In the Billy Loomis shirt. I've seen it online.
Who?
I've seen it online.
No, who are we talking about?
Jill, right?
We're talking about Jill Roberts.
Yeah.
Or Jill, what the fuck? I don't remember. But okay,
well,
her last name was okay.
Roberts.
Whatever her name is in the movie, I can't remember. But no, I don't agree with that at all. This guy will always be the best Ghostface of all time.
Yeah, I'm behind you.
Battle anyone.
I'll take any of the Ghostfaces from the first 3 minus what's her name from Roseanne.
Laurie Metcalf.
Yes, she's great. Yeah. But as a ghost face, I'm like,
I mean, it was.
I'm hoping when I watch the movie and I think back on it, I'm really hoping that she wasn't behind the costume in a lot of these scenes, because they don't make sense.
She wasn't.
Yeah,
she wasn't, because you look at the way it moves.
But
and
according to it, wasn't she the one that killed Randy?
She was.
Yeah.
But Oliphant, I think Oliphant.
Randy's a little wiener kid, so
he could have taken him.
I
easily,
guess that's possible.
But like I say, Oliphant was really good.
So
I mean. Well, let's not talk about that. That makes me want to cry. And I will cry after this is over. But anyway, so I'm really glad we talked about these films, because again, I'll go back to the very first of the show. 2024 has been a great year for horror. I know you don't fully agree on that, but I think it's been way better than the past. But I think it actually has brought us some really, really good films. Azrael, Substance, Trap, we said was a decent film. Speak No Evil, another really, really solid film. I mean, and I can go on and on. There's so many films that have come out. And again, we're going to cover most. We're going to watch more, and we're going to have a year-end wrap-up where we talk about the best films of the year.
We're waiting until that right near the end of December, because there's some great stuff coming in December still.
Yes.
We got Nosferatu coming out around Christmas, so I don't want to skip that.
No, because that's probably going to be number one for me. Honestly, that just will be very.
I hope so. Yeah. There's been some surprising ones that I've really enjoyed recently, and I didn't think I was going to. And I was like, oh, these are going to be in my top of 2024 list, and I'm not saying what they are yet, but
good. Yeah, don't say. I mean, we've shown our hand a little bit, but again, they'll be in our list, but there's no telling where I'm going to put these on my list,
Of
especially
course.
with more coming out. So, but I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited for 2025. Some stuff has come out already with some films that are coming out.
I try to
we'll talk
always
about
be
that now,
excited
but-
for the future. I try to always be excited for the future, no matter how much we get let down today.
True,
But 2024 had some sleeper hits that I enjoyed. My disappointment with it is that I don't think a lot of other people enjoyed them as much as I did, or maybe they just skipped them altogether and went for something else.
True, I agree. Yeah, I can't fault you for that at all. 2025 is going to be a really hard year. I'm just going to say that right now. So I'm really wanting horror to come through for us and really give us some really, really solid films to really take our minds, yes, away from what the bullshit of everyday life is going to be like. So, I just it is what it is. But yeah, I apologize. We skipped a week, and I was really sick. Had to work through the sickness, which really sucked too. I was at work and just like dying, but you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. And I'm back now, so yeah. So we're gonna maybe hopefully knock some of these out. Maybe try to do weekly. Coming soon.
We always try. Try.
Yep. And who knows? This makes some surprises coming from us. We may throw some things at you that you're not used to, which I'm really excited about. So be looking for some updates, some changes, some shakeups. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of anything else I need to add, but I think that's it. Follow us on social media, Instagram, YouTube. We passed 100 subscribers on YouTube finally, so hell yeah. That's a big milestone for us because it took a long time to get there. So we really appreciate everyone that watches and talks and shares and, supports us. So, but if you have any thoughts, leave them in the YouTube comments on the show on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube comments, hit us up on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you. If there's something you want us to talk about on the show, if you want to get your opinion on the show, very much we are down for that. So just let us know. Hit us up.
All of it. Very much no problem. So yeah. So I guess we're just gonna close off because I am hungry. I am really hungry.
It's nacho time.
And I know there's nachos. I want to see those nachos. Send me a picture of the nachos. Send them to me. I want to see what you're eating. But thank you again for sending us in the horror section. My name is Wes. That is Savvy. That is Savvy. There we go. I always get that wrong. Get this. I'm old. I can't figure it out. But anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Later.
Take it easy, guys.